is going to bring about some type of revelation, some type of clarification regarding the truth about what's happening around you that you don't know about. Now, this may actually begin on August 22nd when the moon transits with Lilith in this position. This is when the virtuous people may really come to realize that they have to step in. So it may take a little while for them to get the energy up or to wrap their heads around what's happening and figure out how they are going to do it. But there's an intervention here. So on August 22nd, you may feel like something's going on. In fact, you already probably know that something's going on. It's been happening for years, okay? For several years. So the Grand Fire Trine happens from now right into the mid of September. But one of the key activations is on August 22nd. That coincides with the Sun, Mercury passing the South Node between the 22nd and the 24th. The Grand Fire Trine consists of Lilith in Sagittarius, the South Node in Leo with the Sun and Mercury, and Vesta in Aries here in the chart. Here is Aries with Vesta and Pallas Athena, but we're focusing on Vesta as the core energy here. The Grand Fire Trine is very important. Lilith represents something hidden, which is going to be accentuated by the moon when it transits this position on August 22nd. This is something medium to long term. Hidden secrets, information that's kept from you. There's things behind the scenes, okay, that are happening. They're out of your control. They may be something very innocent, like a corporation changing their trajectory, their business model, maybe a buyout or a merger, something like that affecting your job. Or it can be something sinister, like someone creeping on you, someone being duplicitous, someone being disingenuous, or even scheming. But this isn't new. In fact, it's been going on for a while, and we're towards the end of this. So we're in the second half, even last quarter of this energy. So this is a presence in the background of things. The South Node, and here with the Sun and Mercury, is that energy we just talked about, looking in, pulling away from a group that isn't working in your favor. There's this back to the drawing board. That's the perfect way to say it. This doesn't mean that everything is going away, but it's just you getting in touch with yourself, as we've talked about. And this may have to do with this energy. So in a certain percentage of experience or a certain percentage of cause, it was caused by someone or something happening behind the scenes you don't know about. And I read asteroids, but not too much, except when it really matters. And I think Vesta here is very important. Vesta is the sister of Jupiter, and she represents virtue. And this is where the energy of virtue comes through down to us individually. What I think this Grand Trine means, or at least the dominant energy here, is that there's a person, this could be you, who knows something about things that are happening behind the scenes. That was terrible, sorry. I tried to fix it, but it wasn't much better. So someone has the inside scoop. This could be gossip or something else, inside information that you don't know about. And I think that they're about to tell you. And I think that Grand Trine is facilitating intermediary people to come in and help through that Aries Vesta energy, embodying the energy of Vesta in Aries to bring people up to speed, people who are contending with the South Node in Leo, to get informed about important information that's relevant to them. So to tie it all in, groups are failing. We're seeking new groups, and new groups are emerging, new relationships, new dynamics. South Node represents how we experience that as a break in our social contract with the groups that are in our lives already. Meanwhile, this one of the first activations besides the eclipse that happened on August 12th, the Grand Fire Trine that holds right through all of Virgo season, is going to bring about some type of revelation, some type of clarification regarding the truth about what's happening around you that you don't know about. Now, this may actually begin on August 22nd when the moon transits with Lilith in this position. This is when the virtuous people may really come to realize that they have to step in. So it may take a little while for them to get the energy up or to wrap their heads around what's happening and figure out how they are going to do it. But there's an intervention here. So on August 22nd, you may feel like something's going on. In fact, you already probably know that something's going on. It's been happening for years, okay? For several years in the background of things. Now, this can be super dramatic or it can be a lot more neutral depending on your situation. And this does affect mundane astrology as well. So this could be revelations or the truth emerging in circumstances concerning world events as well. But you're going to understand what's happening sooner than later because there will be people represented by Vesta, okay? They are going to embody the energy and let you know. And all of this is very important for September 7th, 2026. This is when Lilith will pass the North Node. So Lilith will pass the North Node, and whatever is hidden and happening behind the scenes will emerge. And you will publicly know about this, or the truth will come out regarding this dynamic. And this dynamic is probably a part of the reason why you're pulling back right now on people, family, different situations. Okay, so the first message that we get for the Grand Fire Trine is the moon. So the moon's shown up twice now in the last reading and this one as well. So it's definitely hard to let go of situations because we've invested time or energy, thought into them. The moon is with Lilith on August 22nd, which is the peak of the Grand Fire Trine. This is probably when we are going to feel this the most. This may not be when you actually hear about what's going on, but maybe this is when the person that's being guided by Vesta has their break in conscience and they decide to do something about it. There's definitely hidden information here that someone knows something about. Let's see the next card. We have the Five of Wands. Yeah, they're struggling with the information that they have about the situation. And then the Two of Wands. And I think that breaks their pact with the crowd. So one of the main themes of the North Node is that multipolarity, where each group experiences a fracturing of leadership and new leaders emerge, but not leaders who are supposed to be the central figure, but more like multipolar, with many different people being thought leaders, bringing forward whatever ideas that they have. And so this person may be in a group in which there's a very specific type of dogma that everybody is encouraged to believe. And I think that they're having this real tough time with it, whatever they're being told, whatever they're being sold. And maybe they invested time and money into the situation, but now they're seeing the truth. Remember, with Lilith in that position, we're not seeing the full thing until 2027. So you're just seeing, it's kind of like the Plato's cave, right? You see the shadows on the wall, but you don't see the whole thing, but you know something's there, right? That's the flip side of the cave. Like, you do know something's there, even though it's not what it appears to be. And then we have the Four of Wands. Yeah, very virtuous person, very good heart, deep thinker. You have someone on your side or several people who don't I feel like there's been a lot of superficial words being thrown around by people. So people know what to say. We're all media trained at this point. So people know what to say to get away with things, to make it sound nice. But these are not those types of people. Those are people for whom words matter, who take certain things seriously, like fairness, and they know it's a bad situation. They don't know all of it, but they know some things that are going to help you. Here is the next message. So this is the Knight of Wands. Something's coming through to you with so much virtue. Look at all these Wands cards, and Wands are represented by the fire element. So there's something that's really, it wasn't sticking the way that it was. How do I say this? The way it was settled, people were not comfortable with it. And their first reaction was to hide or to move away or to ignore. But, when they're having breakfast, when they're brushing their teeth, when they're taking their dog for a walk, they're thinking about it and they're like, no, that's not right. So these are the types of people that are not good with leaving bad situations. If they know something wrong had happened, they're not going to turn their back. They may walk away for a period of time, but they're coming back. And then we have, look, an Ace of Wands. There's a change in this situation. And I kind of shuffle like this, but they're random spots. So to get so many wands, it really is suggesting there's like natural order. Nature is involved. There are people who are very in tune with nature and they're very sensitive to non-natural things, if that makes sense. And so that's where the stress is. They're like, this is not natural. They know about a lie. They know about a deception. It changes their viewpoint about the situation that you're in. And I think they see your side. And I think very soon something is coming your way. Again, from the last reading, the same message that is going to provide for you some kind of a overcoming, some kind of gift. Okay, so let's look at my oracle cards. So networking at work shows potential. It's someone with whom you've been candid and who you were honest with as things were happening. Sometimes people criticize others for being genuine, but the point isn't to convince the group, because oftentimes groups have like their assumptions. It's to convince the good people. You want the good people on your side, right? You want the people for whom these things matter. Those are the people who you're speaking to if you're ever in a problem like this. Okay. A younger woman is angry and upset. This had to do with some kind of younger woman, possibly, who had smeared you or lied about you to others. Sometimes very young people in general, not just women, they can be very, and I was probably that way too, but too quick to act on things. They can be very destructive because they don't have the skills necessary to deal with all situations. So they get upset and then they start trying to solve a situation with their limited skills early. That's what it feels like. Someone was young. They reacted too quickly. Their knee-jerk response was to lie or to smear. Small trip to a neighboring town lucky. So you're meant to go see someone or go somewhere nearby. Now, if you live in a big city, it's just another neighborhood in your city you're meant to go. I think you already know that you're meant to go there to see someone, to talk about it. Energetically, if you're not being heard by a group of people, it really helps to have a conversation with someone outside that group. Don't try to make friends with a group that is against you or not supporting you. Find your bridges with people from other communities, other social groups. Let's say that you break up with your partner and they take all your friends. This happens all the time to women. I don't know why groups of friends follow the man in the heterosexual relationship so often, but they do, and I hear about it all the time. So rather than trying to convince those people who have been turned against you or who were against you all along, reach out. I'm getting like a female friend, maybe someone from your childhood or high school. So someone who's genuinely going to hear you out. Just having that conversation is super empowering, okay? Because then they know. More than one person knows. Even if they don't act on it, it's good, you've asserted, if you're convincing a group of people who's not hearing you, energetically, that's very strenuous on your nervous system. And so I feel like there's a real, like, it doesn't have to be a female. I'm picking up on the fact that it's a woman. It could be another person, but you're having conversations with people from outside this context. Secrets within connection. There is secrets in this group that they don't want people to know. That's why they're reacting so abruptly. And I think that this has a lot to do with them and not you, about their internal power structure. A lot of groups aren't managed well. You know, a lot of groups are led by inexperienced. When you have inexperienced, weak leaders, this is the kind of stuff that happens. They make ignorant choices and it causes damage to everyone. And those groups end up being internally unstable. Documents need verification. Somebody's waiting on documents. There's proof to what happened, but they're waiting for verification of some kind. It's not easy to come around. There could be like formal requests to review certain things. So maybe there's like a screenshot of something, but they want the original. So they have to go, in Canada, you would have to go through a formal process to request certain things, but they're there. That's the main thing. And I think this person knows about it. I think they really believed ideologically in a group, but when they're seeing things happen, they're like, they have other principles that they rely on, and that's breaking the spell of the group because they have this outside information guiding them. And they're like, that doesn't make sense. People are reacting in their own self-interest. That's what happens in groups. I get this person is really turned off by what they're seeing. So they were against you, or they were meant to be against you. Okay? So the group anticipated that they would be against you, but maybe you're a woman and they're a feminist, or maybe like I'm the wrong person to say certain things to, you know? If you have prejudices towards people, I'm like the wrong person to say that to. Not towards me, but I mean towards others. Like, that's what I get. That somebody has values when they hear certain things. They're the type of person that is not okay with certain things being said and done. That's what I'll say. Okay, so these cards, I have cards on the side and they kind of fell over. So these four kind of almost went into the screen. Maybe you even saw them, but it was 8 of Cups. So the first reaction was numbness. Groups numb people's reactions to bad situations. Then you have 8 of Pentacles. Then they started working towards awareness and really looking at the details of what happened. This is also Sun in Virgo. It's the 8 of Pentacles. So Sun in Virgo starts on August 21st or 22nd. So either this is a timeline of the change in events, or I feel like this is more their mindset. First, they were ignoring with everybody else, but then they started doing the work and they were seeing, you know, what's happening. And then look at these cards. We have the Aeon, my favorite card in tarot, which is this specific card from the top deck. And then we have the High Priestess. This person is tapping into some deep, deep truth about this. When we get trumps like this, sometimes higher energies take us over and guide us in the direction that we are going to take. So it's almost like this person is possessed with a mission, okay? And that's the Vesta. Vesta is a virgin. She is the sister of Jupiter, and she never married, and she was like the tribute. She held tribute to Jupiter. That's her position. And so whether you're a man or a woman, whether this person is a man or a woman, they have that real virtuous position. And it's almost like when certain things happen, certain people can't help but go down a specific path that's enlightened. Okay? It's an enlightened path. And it's one that is acting in your favor, the Ace of Wands, okay? So, and this is transcendence, which is the High Priestess. This person is going to say things, maybe not publicly, but at key moments, because they have to. They have that energy there, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye.